YouTube. This is Amusement Park Fan 62. Here is my review of the 2022 WWE Royal Rumble. Now, after each match, I will give my overall thoughts, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the whole pay-per-view. So let's get started. To open the show, it was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Now, from the start, you could tell Roman's head wasn't there. So he was kind of mumbling to himself and everything, coming out to his usual choir music, which is fine. Um, Now, for Seth to mess with Roman's head even more, he came out to the Shield's music. Um, and you could tell that really upset Roman. And so for the first half of that match, Seth was really in Roman's head because no matter what Seth did, Roman kind of encountered him. So Seth, for example, Seth went for a stomp. Roman took it. Seth went for the pin. He kicked out. So finally, at the end, Seth or Roman put the guillotine in, and I guess the original finish was the ref was supposed to raise the arm and then fall and then raise it again and then maybe it grabs the rope. I don't know, but this time Seth, the ref raised the arm up, and so then it grabbed the rope. So the ref counted to 5, so Seth won by DQ, and unfortunately you can't win by DQ. So, and then afterwards, Roman went out, got a chair, and basically beat the heck out of Seth and destroyed the chair in the process. Next is the women's match. Now, besides the ones that have been announced for the women's match, so you had Nikki and Brie Bella, Summer Rae, Mickie James, which I'll get to. And a few others. Now, the cool thing that I liked what they did with this match was one, they kept the original themes without changing them. Now, if you look back at last year's Rumble with Victoria, for instance, they kept the lyrics at the beginning, but then they changed the beat to it. This time, for all of them, they kept them the same. Now, Nikki and Brie kept theirs. Summer kept hers because that was one thing I wasn't sure what they were going to do, if they were going to keep the original themes or not. So then with Mickie James, the one thing I liked about hers was she came out to hardcore country. Now, if you don't recognize that, that's what she comes out to in Impact. So I liked how WWE at least accepted that. Now, it would have been better if they shown the video, but that's besides the point in this scenario. Now, the surprises in there were good. I give them that. So you had Cameron. If you don't know who she is, she was Naomi's former tag team partner. Now, the only thing I didn't like about her was she came out to Somebody Call My Mama. I kind of wish she came out to Girl Bye. I think that's what the theme was. Now, the other one I thought was funny was Ivory. If you look back at the 2019 Rumble, or 2020, I forgot which one. on, um, she came out to a different theme. So, and Ivory came out with the right to censor theme. Now, the only thing that would have actually been hilarious about that is if they for that they had some of those um, like police style lights turning. Like if you look at old WWF videos, you would see some of those for that. So that would have been kind of funny. Um, and of course the other big ones were Ronda Rousey, um, and there was another one in there. Now overall, this match was not that bad. Although I still not entirely sure why they didn't have any NXT people on the in it in some way to represent, or even comeback surprises such as like Bailey, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, so forth. Now with Alexa, she's still doing her whole therapy nonsense. I do expect her probably in the back next couple of weeks to start some sort of feud going into WrestleMania. Either get added to Becky's somehow or something. I'm not entirely sure. Overall, I do like the women's match. Next is Becky versus Doudrop. Now, from the start, this match never lived up to the hype they were trying to get it to be. Just because you had the women's match before, which lasted a good hour, and plus then the whole stuff with the WrestleMania sign. So it was an okay match. I'd give Doudrop props for trying. So next you have Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Now, this one had potential. The problem was it was such a long time in the making. It was 20 years in the making. I felt like this should have been something they did maybe in the Attitude or Ruthless Aggression era. But now the thing I liked about the end of this match was you saw Roman come in, kind of ask Paul Heyman to give him the WWE title. So he did, and he kind of wonked up Brock with the title. So Brock's out cold. And so Bobby pinned him and won. So then you kind of saw Brock or Roman walking off with Paul Heyman. And then you hear the commentators go, well, Paul Heyman has a lot to explain. Next is the It couple versus the Grit couple. Now, I guess due to time, instead of having 4 entrances, they just did 2, which is fine. So Miz and Maurice came out to Miz's music. Edge and Beth Phoenix came out to Edge's music. That's fine. And I liked how both sets were, their outfits about matched. Now, I also liked one part in the match. Maurice used the brick that she used to hit Beth a couple weeks going wrong in like a small purse. Now, overall, this had potential, but it was just okay. Although I do see a rematch coming at some point. I mean, I hope not, but which leads us to the main event, which is the Men's Royal Rumble match. Now, this was bad. Now, the start was good, which was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which they had history from WrestleMania, around WrestleMania 34. But from there, it kind of got weird. Because you had Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, uh, Ray and Dominic Mysterio, uh, Omos. So basically, most of the match was one, who could stop Omos, and two, who's going to win this? So basically, most of the match was that. Then, of course, number 30, Brock Lesnar, came out and basically eliminated 6 people in like 2 minutes or something. I'm not entirely sure the number. So you have 2 former MMA stars winning the men and women's Royal Rumble. So overall, I don't know. It's just, I felt like they could do more with this. Now, I'm not entirely sure because on SmackDown this past Friday, they had some people from NXT backstage because I know at least one of them was doing dark matches before SmackDown. And so I thought originally they were going to have them in the Rumble in some way. But like the women's, there was no NXTers or people come back. Now, the only people who really came back in the Rumble for the men was Drew McIntyre after being out for a couple of weeks. And there was a couple others, but overall, I give the 2022 Royal Rumble 3 out of